Hi everyone, my name is Gigi Pearson, and I'm excited to share my project that is titled Building Resilience and Pride, Psychoeducational Support Group for LGBTQ plus Adolescents in Douglas County, Kansas. This presentation will outline this group that is designed to reduce bullying-related stress, foster coping skills, and strengthen pride and connection among the LGBTQ plus youth in the community. A little bit of overview. The project again was developed for the LGBTQ plus adolescents, specifically ages 13 to 18, who have experienced bullying and harassment or harassment due to their identity. The group will take place in Douglas County, more specifically Lawrence, Kansas, and will run for about 8 weeks using a hybrid format of in-person as well as virtual sessions in order to make it more accessible for youth across the county. Ideally, the facilitator would be an MSW level clinician who has experience or been trained in LGBTQ plus affirming practice. And the main goals of the group, again, are to build coping skills, strengthen peer connections, and develop an identity and pride and self-advocacy. A little breakdown of how it all developed. With the first part was recognizing the need in Lawrence and in Douglas County, and the need being the bullying and harassment of these youth. And there is very limited space, opportunity for these youth to come together and be a community. And so the purpose is then to create that safe environment, but also to help them process and learn these coping skills. So across Kansas, as well as nationwide, the LGBTQ plus youth face a very drastic rate of, a much higher rate of depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. According to the CDC Youth Risk Behavior Survey, bullying and discrimination often lead to significant contributors to this chronic stress and social withdrawal that further adds to the risk of depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. GLSEN's 2021 Kansas State Snapshot highlights just how many of these LGBTQ plus students feel unsafe in the schools, the county, in the state, and they lack access to affirming mental health resources, especially in the rural areas, and much of Kansas is very rural. The groups is responding to that need and that gap by providing an affirming, structured, supportive environment where youth can process these experiences, build these coping strategies, and connect with peers who face similar challenges to create that sense of belonging. So that it's not just to reduce stress. The goal is to promote pride, belonging, and empowerment for these youth. The foundation of the group is very grounded in evidence-based frameworks as well as social work principles, being empowerment and the focus on the equity for the marginalized youth. So the peer learning and mutual support help foster that resilience and connection. But then there are also additional guiding theories that we see add to this evidence-based framework. First being cognitive behavioral theory, which supports teaching these emotional regulation and reframing negative thoughts youth are struggling with. Minority stress theory helps understand the stigma and how discrimination affect their mental health. And then another theory is the group process theory, which emphasizes, again, that social learning, validation, and cohesion, which can be gained through this peer interaction. So overall, these frameworks provide a very strong foundation for the psychoeducational and rational aspects of the group. To really measure the outcomes and ensure this goal is achieving all that it can, there are a variety of tools that can be used. Quantitative measurements can include the perceived stress scale or the emotion regulation questionnaire, as well as developing specific surveys that allow the participants to respond and share their sense of self-advocacy and social connectedness. Qualitative tools are always great. As a facilitator, you can make notes and observations, and that can be used through using open-ended reflection and open-ended questions with the participants, helping them measure really the reduction in the perceived stress and anxiety, assessing the improvement of their coping skills, regulation, self-advocacy, and just all while still ensuring that everything is ethical and also confidential. The combination of these different methods ensure that the program and the support group remains data informed, staying focused, and giving the participants a voice. To further address this gap, there's opportunity for community collaboration. Some key partners that were identified that could be beneficial were Douglas County Schools, Boys and Girls Club of Lawrence, Kansas, and then local LGBTQ plus organizations, one being specifically Lawrence Pride. These partnerships would help expand the access to this mental health resources, affirming mental health resources, strengthening the bridge between school-based and community-based supports, as often much of the bullying is occurring in school. By offering these support groups, you can learn, connect, heal, and while still reinforcing the community strengths. It fills a gap that is there while still promoting this resilience, pride, and belonging. It's ultimately about transforming community spaces into affirming, empowering environments that celebrate diversity and inclusion. In summary, this group addresses a clear need that the community has by combining evidence-based strategies with affirming social work values. It helps these youth develop coping skills, manage stress, while also connecting with peers and developing a support system. The evaluation process ensures that it is accountable and it is always continuing to improve, while the community collaboration helps hold it accountable and promoting sustainability in the environment. Overall, all of these elements and pieces help build a stronger foundation for resilience, pride, and belonging among youth in Douglas County, Kansas. Here are the references that really informed my research and project, including the CDC, GLSEN, and several of the textbooks used in class. Thank you all for listening to this presentation.